Judge slaps quiet black girl seconds later. He watches her dial the governor's hotline. The courtroom air was thick, a suffocating haze of whispers and glares that clung to Amara's skin like damp cloth. She stood, a lone figure at the defendant's table, her heart pounding so loud it drowned out the judge's venomous words. At 16, she was no stranger to the sting of prejudice, but today, it wasn't just words, it was the law itself, twisted into a weapon. Judge Harlan, a man whose scowl seemed carved from years of unchecked power, had just slammed his gavel and sneered. "You people always think you can talk back." The slap came next, not physical but war-sea verbal lash, branding her as less than human in front of a packed courtroom. Amara's crime? Speaking up at a school board meeting against a policy banning books by black authors. Her voice, soft but unyielding, had called it what it was: racism. The school board, all white, bristled. They didn't just suspend her, they pressed charges for disorderly conduct. Now, here she was, facing a judge who saw her as a problem to be crushed, not a child with a cause. His words still echoed. "Know your place, girl." The gallery murmured, some in outrage, others in cruel agreement. Amara's mother, sitting in the front row, gripped her purse so tightly her knuckles paled. But Amara wasn't broken. Her eyes, dark and steady, locked onto the judge's. She didn't flinch, didn't cry. Instead, she reached into her pocket, pulling out a battered phone. The room froze as she raised it, her fingers moving with deliberate calm. "What do you think you're doing?" Harlan barked, his voice cracking with irritation. Amara didn't answer. She dialed a number she'd memorized months ago, one she'd never thought she'd need. The governor's hotline, a direct line for reporting judicial misconduct. The courtroom gasped. Harlan's face reddened, his gavel trembling in his hand. It wasn't just a phone call, it was a rebellion. Amara had learned about the hotline from her history teacher, Ms. Carter, a woman who'd seen too many kids like Amara silenced. "They'll try to bury you," Ms. Carter had said. "But you've got rights, and you've got a voice." Amara had clung to those words, carrying them like armor. Now, as the line rang, she felt their weight. The governor's office was her last hope, a chance to expose a system that thrived on silencing voices like hers. Harlan leaned forward, his voice low and menacing. "Put that phone down, or I'll hold you in contempt." Amara's lips curved into a faint smile, one that spoke of defiance born from pain. "Go ahead," she said, her voice clear, cutting through the room like a blade. "I'm already in contempt of a system that thinks I'm less because of my skin." The gallery erupted, some shouted in support, others in fury. A bailiff stepped forward, but Amara's mother stood, her voice booming. "Don't you touch my child." The call connected. A calm voice answered. "Governor's office. How may I assist you?" Amara spoke, her words steady despite the chaos around her. "I'm Amara Johnson, and I'm reporting Judge Harlan for racial bias and abuse of power." She recounted the judge's words, his slap of words that stung deeper than any hand could. The room was a storm now, reporters scribbling, spectators shouting, Harlan slamming his gavel uselessly. He knew what was coming. The hotline wasn't just a call, it was a spotlight, and Amara had just turned it on him. The trial paused, but the tension didn't. Harlan's authority unraveled as whispers of the governor's involvement spread. Amara stood taller, her phone still in hand, a symbol of power reclaimed. She wasn't just fighting for herself, she was fighting for every kid who'd been told to stay quiet, every voice dismissed because of their color. Her mother's eyes glistened with pride, and even the skeptics in the gallery began to shift, their murmurs softening. Hours later, the news broke. Judge Harlan was under investigation. The governor's office had acted swiftly, pulling records and statements. Amara's call had sparked a fire, one that burned through the town's complacency. The school board's policy was repealed, and Amara's charges were dropped. But she didn't stop there. She spoke at rallies, her quiet strength now a roar, inspiring others to challenge the systems that bound them. Amara learned something that day. Justice isn't given, it's demanded. Her call to the governor wasn't just a moment, it was a movement. And as she walked out of the courtroom, head high, she knew she'd never be silent again. The world had heard her, and it would keep listening. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.